Hello, this is Sibongile Ziambo. Welcome to Zodiak News, live from Lilongwe. Coming up this hour. Cashgate confessions. Oswa Lutepo says former President Dr. Zbstv was principal beneficiary. Former Budget Director Pompeo back in the cooler for alleged tax evasion. Daylight robbery as Chinese nationals are robbed 4 million kwacha at gunpoint in Lilongwe. And elsewhere, President Obama unveils major shakeup in U.S. immigration law. Stay tuned for details of these plus more in a moment. Cashgate key suspect Oswa Lutepo has told Zodiak today that former President Zbstv was the principal beneficiary of stolen public funds and that his company indeed played conduit to getting the money to State House in cash. In an exclusive interview with ZBS from his hideout, Lutepo said he hoped the people of Malawi, who are feeling the pinch for the plunder of their public resources, will forgive him for the role he personally played in the theft. Lutepo says he is willing to provide information that will prove that he was working on instructions from President Zbstv, to whom he personally delivered money cashed through his company accounts in local banks. Mr. Lutepo spoke to Gabriel Kamlomo of Zodiak from his hiding place.
There's been a lot of shielding of things. In this case, we're looking at theft or squandering from the highest office of the president. That is the former president then, Zbstv.
Well, what is it that you know that he did? You're talking about the former president. How is he involved in the Cashgate?
Everything that was happening had her blessings. I mean, look at me. All along, even other people have known me because of the Cashgate. Would I have had any power to tell someone to say, pay me 4 billion? Just from the blues? And the money going through properly, the accounts, whatever. And go check my accounts. They're dry. And I'm actually much poorer now than I was before I got involved with these political things.
Yeah, how was it happening? What was going on? What is it that you know was happening to public funds? What role did you play?
Well, like other suppliers, we were forced to act as conduits because they wouldn't have been paying themselves, those people. They needed other people whom they could use as surrogates so that the money should pass on to them. Now, that's where the whole challenge is, because Cashgate leaves dots. Those people are thieves. And being thieves, they wouldn't let anything to trace to them. They wouldn't stand for the money, even if you've given them. All that people can trace easily is the supplier. Now imagine how many suppliers are there? Over 30, 40 suppliers. Are you telling me we all had one idea to say let us defraud government? Someone may have had that idea to say let us defraud government. And they are the people who knew how to defraud government.
You mentioned the name of the former president, Dr. Zbstv.
Yes.
That she was involved in this.
Yes.
And that she was doing this with you. How were you doing it?
No.
Can you give me examples of something you did, maybe someday, and how she got the money?
You think where was the money going? Where was the money going? In my pockets? In my pockets. Go and check the statements. No money. Why do you think I've been asking for the colloques? It's in an effort to tell the world, to tell the nation of what was happening.
Well, you can watch a full interview with Mr. Lutepo shortly after the news. Later, we called the former president, Dr. Zbstv, who is in South Africa, but declined to comment on the matter. Meanwhile, a constitutional lawyer, Justin Zonzi, says the allegations by Mr. Lutepo won't forward further Cashgate drama.
I think there would be a number of effects of such a development. At the personal level, as a person who is himself facing criminal charges, and then he has just made a public admission, one would expect that from this point onwards, he is also going to plead guilty in court, so that then we do not waste time in terms of trying to bring evidence to prove the matters against him. But to the extent that he also implicates others, then that complicates investigations, in the sense that he has specifically mentioned the former head of state. Now, if the investigators do not find any evidence against the former head of state, then it will create a public perception that the former head of state is being shielded from the arm of the law. On the other hand, if the investigations should be commenced immediately against the former head of state because of the statement which Mr. Lutepo has made, then one also fears the possibility that the investigating authorities are simply acting on the whims of a person who is himself answering criminal charges. So it does have the implication that either way, it undermines the processes going on. One would have anticipated that this kind of confession should have been made formally by him to the appropriate authorities, so either the court or the lawyers who are involved.
In the event that this confession has been made in the media, do the courts have the powers to make reference to them?
No, the courts cannot make to the confessions made in the media, because the court would have to be directed by the available evidence. However, in terms of the actual judicial proceedings, the chances are higher that lawyers will keep referring to this. So, for instance, if Mr. Lutepo does not change his plea in court, he maintains that he is innocent, then the defense lawyers or the prosecution lawyers will refer to this interview and say, but you gave this interview in which you admitted. So somehow it's going to get back into the court, but not directly from the media, but I think through the reference and admissions that Mr. Lutepo is going to make in court when the matter comes up for hearing.
This also comes at a time when investigations are ongoing. Don't you think the confession would redirect the attention of these investigators?
Yeah, it would, particularly if the investigators are not being careful about it. This could be used as a deflection, trying to throw them off balance certain things by providing gratuitously certain information. Now, if the investigators are going to be led by nothing more than the need to find certain things, then it is possible that they could be misled easily by this kind of confession.
So legally, what are the implications of such a confession?
Well, it is highly prejudicial, because not only does it affect his rights, it also affects the manner in which the court is going to go about the case. It also affects the rights of other individuals who may not have an equal opportunity to respond to the issues. And even then, even if they were to respond through the media, maybe the consequence of such a response may not be any significant in terms of public perception. So it is a very highly prejudicial action, one which perhaps his lawyers should have advised against.
Former Budget Director Pompuyo, who is currently on bail for charges connected to the casket, has been arrested in Lilongwe this time for alleged tax evasion offences. Malawi Revenue Authority spokesperson Steve Kapoloma and Anti-Corruption Bureau spokesperson Egdit Ndala confirmed the arrest of Mr. Pompuyo alongside two other suspects, Mr. Shiraz and retired Lieutenant Nelson Kauwa. It is yet to be seen when they will be taken to court, where support staff are boycotting work. Here's Mr. Kapoloma on the line from Blantyre.
Today, the Malawi Revenue Authority, in a joint operation with the Anti-Corruption Bureau, has arrested 3 people in connection with tax evasion charges. The first one is Mr. Shiraz Ferreira, who is trading as the SF International. We have also arrested Mr. Nelson Johannes Kauwa, trading as the Tuso Group, and we have also arrested Pompuyo.
Now, are these arrests in connection to the released Bekatile report, or they are emanating from an independent inquiry conducted by yourselves?
It's emanating from an independent inquiry on the taxes that these 3 people were supposed to file to MRA and pay, and therefore our investigation, as it is continuing, but we can reveal that there were some tax evasion practices that we have identified, hence the arrest.
You are saying that the investigation is ongoing. Should we expect another high-profile arrest or other high-profile arrests anytime soon?
We cannot speculate. What we are doing is to look at our files, and if we found other people as well that have not been declaring their taxes as it is supposed to be, we would want to make sure that those are also interrogated, and if we find evidence worth arrest, we will do so. But as it is now, we can confirm the three, and we would like also to stress that the taxes are a very important issue in Malawi, and therefore tax charges are also a serious charge in as far as taxation is concerned.
A local health rights NGO today petitioned government to update the Malawi essential medicines list to include 13 UN life-saving commodities for maternal, newborn and child health. Executive Director for Health and Rights Institution Program, Maziko Matemba, says government ought to include the critical medicine in the guidelines to protect women and children from preventable causes of death. But speaking after receiving the petition, Secretary for Health Chris Kangombe said they will not be able to update the list before 2015, as Zodiak reports.
Reproductive Maternal Newborn Child Health, a non-governmental organization, Friday presented a petition to the Ministry of Health calling on authorities to update the Malawi essential medicines list to include 13 UN life-saving commodities for maternal, newborn and child health by 2015. The 13 UN commodities include injectable antibiotics, resuscitation devices, contraceptive implants, and misoprostol. The petition also states that failure to update the list will be a missed opportunity in efforts to arrest the alarming maternal and newborn mortality rates in Malawi. Executive Director for Health and Rights Institution Program, Maziko Matemba, says government ought to include the critical medicine in the guidelines to protect women and children from preventable causes of death. He says at the moment, statistics show that Malawi is off track on the reduction of maternal mortality ratio, which currently is at 675 per 100,000 live births, against the target of 155 per 100,000 by 2015.
2015 is just a few weeks to go, and I will not say that you'll be able to do that by that date. I hope we can say that before end of 2015 we should be able to update our essential medicines list to include these 13 commodities. So we'll be consulting as we approach this work in the course of the next few months.
But speaking after receiving the petition, Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Chris Kangombe, said government will not be able to update the Malawi essential medicines list before 2015. For Zodiac TV News, this is Tadala Kalidzera.
About 20 girls have been rescued from early and forced marriages in the Lilongwe district between the months of February and October alone. The rescue was facilitated by Plan Malawi, and the revelation came to light during commemorations held in Lilongwe to mark Plan Malawi's 20 years of existence in Malawi. Charles Wahara filed this report.
Efforts to bring back girls to school after being rescued from early marriages seem to make some big progress. In Lilongwe, for example, reports are indicating that many girls have been rescued from early marriages. According to Plan Malawi Assistant Program Area Manager for Lilongwe, Mr. Christopher Katutu, there was a high rate of girls' school dropout due to early marriages. Mr. Katutu explained that even boys deserve better as they get exposed to alcohol and violence at a tender age. Mr. Katutu says the Lilongwe district has produced better results, which can easily be duplicated to other results.
Within our impact area, from last year to this year, we have rescued almost 20 girls that have gone back to school. And some of these girls were married for 5, some for 7 years in marriage, and they have children, 1, 2 children. But with this intervention, these girls have gone back to school.
Meanwhile, acting Lilongwe District Labour Officer Mrs. Chiletso Mbewe says that the initiative has brought positive results as a result of involving all stakeholders to encourage the girl child to go to school and leave early marriage.
For Lilongwe, we have got the district child and protection committee, which looks at the all activities and protects the children in Lilongwe to see that all the rights of the child are protected, that our children are protected in Lilongwe.
For Zodiak TV, this is Charles Wahara.
2 people have been seriously injured in a road accident on the Kaunda Road near African Bible College in Lilongwe. Eyewitnesses say the accident occurred when a fuel tanker overturned when the driver wanted to avoid a cyclist. The tanker then fell on a small VW Golf which was overtaking the truck. This is what we gathered from the accident scene.
This truck belongs to Paganan Trading. It was coming from Beira, loaded with fuel, diesel. And we've just heard, it's yesterday, before we came, that our driver was disturbed by a small car that is there. There's a small car driven by a white lady. She overtook our driver. So our driver, at the same time, she had to turn to going to 47. So our driver was going to 49. So he had to negotiate, but now he failed. That's why he went over the small car until the truck fell over. So that's how I can relate it. That's what I know.
According to the reports given to you, how is the state of the people that were involved in the accident, like the lady driver as well as your truck driver?
Yeah, we've got 2 casualties. The lady, the white lady who was driving the vehicle, the small one, and our driver. They've got cuts in the head. We believe they are stable until we go again and check them, because they were rushed to the hospital at the same time the accident happened.
A reminder that you're watching news on Zodiac, coming to you live from Lilongwe. We still have more to come shortly after this break.
It's on!
It's on!
It's on! Game on! The Family Brain Showdown, the game show. The Triple Threat TV show is on. Represent your family, represent your region, stand out from the rest. 4 members, 3 regions, 24 families. 1 family to win it all. Realize a dream to stardom for the whole family. Auditions are here in Mzuzu on 29 and 30 November at the Grand Palace Hotel. Application forms can be collected at Zodiac offices located at Old Mutual Building, or you can download the forms at www.zodiacmalawi.com. Also call us on the following number:
0997 101 991, 0882 860 760.
Be part of the Family Brain Showdown.
We dance on the floor, around.
Go wild with flavor.
Welcome back, and as we continue, another look at our main news. Cashgate Confessions. Oswald Lutepo says former President Joyce Banda was principal beneficiary. Former Budget Director Pompeo back in the cooler for alleged tax evasion. Daylight robbery as Chinese nationals are robbed 4 million kwacha at gunpoint in Lilongwe. And elsewhere, President Obama unveils major shakeup in U.S. immigration law. Moving on with the news, thugs this morning robbed 3 Chinese nationals over 4 million kwacha at gunpoint in Lilongwe. A report on the scene of the attack said the scene of the attack happened at Sanctuary Lodge in city center, and the thugs and the Chinese nationals had just withdrew the cash from a bank before being hit by the armed thugs. Police are investigating the attack, which happened at midday. No arrests have been made. This is what Daniel Mawawa gathered on the scene of the accident.
It's lunch hour in city center Lilongwe, and a vehicle has just been hit. This vehicle, it belongs to a Chinese investor here in Lilongwe, and it has just been hit right here on the scene. Over 4 million kwacha has been robbed from these investors. They were coming from the bank, from what we are hearing, and it appears there are people that have been following them. And with me is the owner of the money. Would you please share with us what exactly happened?
就是我们先来这个在也是他的银行取钱出来的时候，然后拐弯的时候就碰到那个抢劫的，直接把我车拦住就。
Someone will have to interpret to us what he's exactly saying.
Okay, we were cashing from the bank 4.1 million, and we came from Capital City, passing Sanctuary Lodge towards the Bisnowati robot, and we saw a car parking waiting for us from the side of the main road, and they followed us from the main road and overtook us and stopped our car, took the 4.1 million. Four people came out of the car with 3 guns, 1 panga knife. We suspect there are others waiting for them in their car, and they took the money and took our key.
Do we really know where the people went and which direction, and were there any police presence here?
There wasn't any police at the spot, but there were police nearby us, and they came to us for assistance. But the robbers went to, I think they went Parliament side.
That is it. These Chinese investors, they deal in, they have shops around town in Lilongwe, and they have been robbed this morning of over 4 million kwacha. Like you can see, they're just traffic police officers that are here, but we are also hearing that the time the incident took place, there were some people around who saw what exactly happened, and there is one guy who actually saw what exactly happened. He's one of the people that beg for arms here. Akulu taruzeni munaona chinachitika nchana.
Ifene libanso pamonga mudzi ori mapemphere. Ndendi pemphere nkonezona kuti panadzema galimore ena akapapa. Nde galimore echerai marango dabo kuna kuti muruka anthu okwana anthu angati. Anthu okwana 4. Nde wena ananyamula chani, wena ananyamula furi, wena anadzanyamula chikwanje. Nde nkwezona kuti amadzalimba na machena galimore muyona ilapa. Nde alimba na machena ifeso limango ona sisimaze kuti kodi chichilika nchani. Ndebone kuti anthu aja nala akuba. Pakara mvezone kuti arabira ndrama machina ndama agariwa kona 3.1 million kwacha.
Panali kuomba kwa mfuti kuli konse muti ananyamula mfuti. Munaona kuomba kwa mfuti?
Ai furi yosama kuomba kwa mango opseza chabe.
Amene ndi mmodzi mwa anthu mwanaona izi zikuchitika pano. And we are hearing, like I'm saying, that there were traffic police officers nearby but did not see whatever happened here. A CID police officer also arrived and is doing his investigations.
Meanwhile, police in Lilongwe have arrested 6 men who are suspected to be members of a gang 11 Bongos crew that has been terrorizing parts of Lilongwe. Lilongwe police spokesperson Sub-Inspector Kingsley Dandaula says the suspects were found with dangerous weapons after the police had searched them at a beer joint yesterday. Tadaka Lidzira reports.
Police claim the 6 men, in the company of other suspects, whom police are still hunting, were using these weapons to terrorize communities around Area 36 in Lilongwe. Police spokesperson for Lilongwe, Sub-Inspector Kingsley Dandaula, says they were members of a gang known as 11 Bongos. The 6th, Josam John, aged 23, 22-year-old Ndao Najimala, Yusuf Batesi, aged 17, John Pangani, aged 22, 24-year-old James Banda, and 35-year-old Fanuel Chibwe. According to the Lilongwe police spokesperson, the 6 are suspected to be part of a notorious 11 Bongos crew that has been terrorizing and causing havoc in Area 36.
Our officers from Area 36 Police Unit received an information that certain people who have been terrorizing innocent Malawians at Area 36 were camping at a certain shabin within Area 36. So our officers mobilizing themselves and went to that area, that shabin, and they managed to arrest 6 suspects. And actually this suspect, they were found with 7 panga knives, 4 sharp knives, 4 masks, and 2 military kits, plus one uniform for a certain security guard company called the Buffalo Guard Services. At the moment, the suspects are being kept at the Lilongwe Police Station, and they will be charged with the offense of low-value violence. And again, also when those suspects were arrested, they were found with 8 cell phones. And as of now, some of the victims have identified those cell phones that they were robbed from them.
People say the suspected members of 11 bongos have been breaking into people's homes and beating up people. Despite a series of criminal activity in most parts of the country, police say they are intensifying security. On Wednesday, Police Chief Inspector General said the security lapse can also be blamed on people not taking precautionary measures, such as employing competent security guards. For Zodiak TV News, this is Tadala Kalidzera.
And now to international news. A doctor has died in Mali after treating a patient who sparked a second wave of the deadly Ebola virus in the country. The doctor, whose name has not been released, worked at the Bamako clinic where an Islamic preacher from Guinea was admitted last month. We have this report for more.
Mali's government says 5 people have now been confirmed as having died from Ebola in the country. The doctor, whose name has not been released, worked at the Bamako clinic where an Islamic preacher from Guinea was admitted last month. The preacher was initially diagnosed with a kidney problem and has since died along with other health workers. Guinea, Sierra Leone and Liberia have been worst hit by the Ebola outbreak. More than 5,400 people have died in those 3 countries, along with a handful of others in Nigeria, Spain and the US. It is not clear if this includes the preacher Usa Koita, as he was buried before tests were carried out.
Millions of immigrants living illegally in the U.S. will be allowed to apply for work permits under a major shakeup unveiled by President Barack Obama. They include immigrants living in the U.S. for 5 years who have children staying legally in the U.S. This report for more.
Up to 5 million are expected to benefit from a reform package forced through using executive orders, which allow Mr. Obama to bypass Congress. Republicans have accused the president of an illegal power grab. There are estimated to be 11 million illegal immigrants in the United States. Barack Obama said the U.S.'s immigration system is broken and everybody knows it. Under Mr. Obama's plan, undocumented parents of children who are U.S. citizens or legal residents will be able to apply for work permits lasting 3 years. Only parents who have lived in the U.S. for 5 years will qualify. An estimated 4 million people. Hundreds of thousands more will benefit from other changes, including a decision to broaden a scheme giving temporary legal status to those who arrived in the U.S. as children.
That item also concludes this edition of Zodiac News, but as we go, a recap of our main news. Cashgate confessions. Oswald Lutepo says former President Joyce Banda was principal beneficiary. Former Budget Director Pompuyo back in the cooler for alleged tax evasion. Daylight robbery as Chinese nationals are robbed 4 million kwacha at gunpoint in Lilongwe. And elsewhere, President Obama unveils major shake-up in U.S. immigration law. You've been with me, Sibongile Ziambo. Thanks for watching and good night.